是硅谷龙骑士。
Kentucky 没有看过一个中国人啊。我刚刚到的时候，大家以为我知道康夫。
他开创 GPU 时代，风头直 BIT 巨头英特尔。
同样的故事呢，在 Let's Get 说我 focus IE， 但结果最后还是让微软给战胜了。
NVIDIA CEO 黄仁勋做客波士堂，精彩内容正在放送。波士堂由悦兴家居特别呈现。波士堂由东亚银行特约赞助播出。
商道巨人道，财经也轻松。大家好，欢迎走进今天的波士堂，我是主持人袁明。首先来介绍一下今天我们现场的3位观察员。点击科技酋长王志东先生，欢迎你，酋长。第二位要为大家介绍的是 Yes Fashion 网站的创始人吴世雄先生，欢迎你 Martin。第3位是 Spinsa 领导力顾问公司的董事丁海英女士，欢迎你。好，我们今天现场还有来自北大青鸟、上海同大中心和上海普陀中心的朋友们，同样欢迎大家。我们今天的来到我们节目的这位 boss 呢，他是一手创办了全球最大的显卡芯片公司，叫做 NVIDIA 这家公司。那么这个老板他在2001年的时候，还不到40岁的时候呢，就进入了财富杂志的最有钱人的排行榜。那么1999年的时候，他创办了这家公司 NVIDIA， 在纳斯达克上市。07年度的时候，他的财政收入突破40亿美元。他白手起家，不但是一位充满激情的科学家，而且更是一个新产业的缔造者。他就是独立显卡行业的教父，而且也是撼动英特尔和微软的华人英雄。非常了不起，我觉得掌声一起送给我们这位 NVIDIA 公司的联合创始人、总裁和首席执行官黄仁勋先生。来看一下大屏幕他的介绍。
黄仁勋 ，NVIDIA 公司联合创始人、总裁兼首席执行官。1963年出生于中国台湾，1972年前往美国学习，1983年获得俄勒冈州立大学电子工程学学士学位，1983年到1985年任职于 AMD， 成为微处理器设计师，1985年到1993年任职于 LSI Logic， 先后从事过工程师、市场营销和综合管理等工作。1990年获得斯坦福大学电子工程学硕士学位，1993年与人联合创建 NVIDIA 公司，担任总裁兼首席执行官至今。1999年带领 NVIDIA 公司成功登陆纳斯达克。2007年收入突破40亿美元，成为全球增长最快的半导体公司。黄仁勋多次当选商业周刊、安永等机构评选的年度 CEO。NVIDIA 公司曾经获得美国连线杂志评选的年度创新40强公司，斯坦福商学院评选的最具创业精神公司，财富杂志评选的最适合工作的100家公司等称号。
志东，你对这样一位 boss， 你有些什么样的观察，有些什么样的问题？
我倒是很关心一点的，就是说，第一呢，他9岁到美国，因为我们孩子是正好7岁多嘛，
对，
所以呢，如何是把这种中西方的这个教育啊，能够结合起来，能够
你关心的是孩子的教育，
没错，是的，
好，很好的问题，谢谢志东。我再来问问丁海英，海英对我们这位 boss 有些什么问题？
我在想，可能我比较关心的是，首先他是怎么自己把自己从一个技术型的人才转型到一个管理型的人才？那么
这么成功？
对，而且管理一个小公司和管理大公司是不一样的。那么他在这过程中，他要经过哪一些他自己的转型？
那么再来问问 Martin， 是在这个行业非常非常熟了。
我大概这次我们3个是唯一在以前都见过他的，就认识。我去见他，然后他底下就很诚惶诚恐跟我讲，你要见到 Jensen 的。我说 OK，big deal， 来，哇，就跟我讲这见要注意哪些事，注意哪些事情这样。所以我见到他的时候呢，我觉得他非常 aggressive， 然后可是我觉得在某方面又很温柔的一面。这个后面的竞争态是很激烈的，那怎么用不忠不息的风格，然后怎么去找他自己蓝海战略出来？
对，而且你服务过的公司 Intel、微软、AMD 都是他的竞争对手，所以你应该很了解他，是吗？
不能说了解他，但对他的商业模式有一些。
你待会儿会挑战他。
Yes。
其实我们真的很好奇，这样一位华人英雄，这样一位 IT 界的英雄，今天我们有机会这么近的跟他交流， 哎，我很好奇他是讲中文还是讲英文。来，我们一起欢迎 NVIDIA 的联合创始人、总裁、首席执行官黄仁勋先生 Jensen。欢迎你，哎 ，Jensen 跟大家打个招呼。
大家好，大家好，
中国人的风格。
大家好。
来，请坐，请坐，请坐，谢谢你。
我们大家讲话讲一半英文一半中文好吗？
可以，没问题。
我5岁离开台湾，我们去泰国。
哦，去泰国。
去泰国差不多是4、5年，我差不多9岁10岁的时候，我们就去美国。1973年。
我听说是跟哥哥一块去，哥哥才比你大1岁。
我哥哥大1岁。
然后父母就把他们俩直接送上飞机了。这么小的小孩子要这个跨洋飞机，
那个时候真的没有办法，因为泰国那个时候不太稳定。
你确定是政局不稳，而不是爸爸妈妈觉得你们小哥俩太头痛了？
Well, maybe that too.
那你跟我们说说看，2个男孩子有多难管？你小时候有多夸张？你告诉我们。
I was a very good student, but I was very mischievous.
Mischievous 很难管，很头痛。
One of the most famous stories. I was in Thailand, and it was nighttime, and I went to. I had discovered lighter fluid.
汽油。
I went to the swimming pool and I put the lighter fluid in the swimming pool, lit it on fire.
那还好吧，把游泳池点着。
好漂亮啊！
对呀。然后呢？
哦，好漂亮，好漂亮。
对呀。
跳进去啊！
哇！
从上面看下去很漂亮，
更漂亮。
从下面看上来，哎呀 ，unbelievable. To this day, I still remember the beautiful images.
我想问一下，刚才你变火的是几岁的时候？
我想差不多8岁啊。
8岁。
我们要打一行字，叫危险动作，请勿模仿。
这个8岁
What does that mean?
跳火海。
小孩子是很刺激、很过瘾，对不对？做父母是不是都快心都提到嗓子眼儿
？No, I don't think my mom and dad would be concerned. They always told us, be good people. Be honest, be careful, and then that's it.
And be brave.
My mom and dad saw that picture, and my mom was very proud of that picture.
真的。
Oh, she says, beautiful dive.
我现在知道
Beautiful dive.
一个了不起的企业家，在他背后一定有了不起的父母。哎，但是就是因为他很相信你啊，他知道这个孩子一定会很勇敢。很放心的把你送到美国去，而且我听说你在美国去的还不是一般的学校。
The school is the only school in Oneida, Kentucky, and so when we showed up, we discovered that the school was a half private school, but also half a reform school.
什么叫 reform school?
Reform school
为那个表现不好的小朋友设计的学校，
不是那个问题，
是因为没有别的学校可以去。
对了。Kentucky 没有看过一个中国人啊！我刚刚到的时候，他们大家以为我知道康夫，
以为每个中国人都是
每个中国人都知道康夫啊！
你这学校其他的同学都是什么样子？都身上都有 tattoo 哈？
哦，我的 roommate 我10岁，我的 roommate 17岁，
跟你读一样，小学3年级。
他不会读书，
他还连小学3年级。
我教他读书的。我们俩刚到的时候，晚上 we change our clothes. He had 7 stab wounds from fights.
天哪
Yeah, he was the scariest student, and he was my best friend. And so, there's no reason for him to be mean to me. And he knew that I was the young kid in school, but I was also the best student in school. And I can help people do their homework. And so I slowly taught him how to read. And then he became my best friend. And nobody would ever pick on me.
所以我觉得你在去之前，你父母做的事情啊，使得你之後離開了他們，而且在9歲的時候，能夠繼續一直反省他們的話，然後控制自己 good person.
Yeah, good person. Yeah. Even though I'm very far away from my parents, they loved me very much, so I felt very safe. My parents recorded a tape every single month. Full tape. Talk to us. This is what we did today. And they mailed the tape to us in Kentucky. And it breaks my heart because I took the tape I turn it around, I record over last month, and I told my parents, this is what we did, this is what we had for dinner. Hamburgers were so big, it was as big as a basketball. And they record over our story and send it back to us. And it breaks my heart because after 2 years, there was no tape. I know if today we could have kept, yeah, it would just be amazing to hear ourselves.
我听了好感动哦。其实父母真的完全没有不管他，把2个儿子送到那么远，但是他们的感情联系还是那么紧密，所以 Jason 没有学坏，
或者他们的 boarding school 像哈利波特的学校一样，
有魔法。
对，教的不同东西。Harry Potter,
Just like Harry Potter.
Yes.
对。
Our life experience at working at Denny's, waiting tables, bussing tables, washing dishes.
还有洗厕所在学校里。
Yeah, I was responsible for washing all of the toilets in the dorm because I was the youngest boy, and so the youngest boy gets the worst job. But that's okay. I survived it too. I did it happily.
有点像你把一头羊搁到一个狼窝里面，它只要能生存下来，它很厉害。
他比狼还厉害
啊，比狼还厉害。
对，
而且狼是他的朋友，他回到羊群里面了，所有的羊不敢欺负他。
哎，我想起来，这有点不像中国人，这有点像传说中的斯巴达人哈，孩子一生下就要扔到城墙外边去啊！如果能活下来，就证明是最强的。
对。
哎，我能不能问一下？因为我知道今天你的女儿也在现场，对不对？
王敏山。
王敏山，来，
大家好。
Did he ever tell you some story about his childhood?
Definitely, actually. Like, my brother and I, we both used to love listening to my dad. He used to tell us a lot about his pet monkey. He had a monkey when he was in Thailand.
就是你在家里最擅长的是什么？
He's very good at cooking. Like on the weekends, like my mom and my dad and I, we always make food together. And then, well, my brother doesn't because he eats the food and then he does the dishes. My dad likes, recently he's been really into making a lot of new dishes kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
所以我们刚刚看到那张照片，就是他在下厨的时候还是这个很煞有介事的哈。那我们现在回到他小时候，是不是除了做饭，其实他还有一个很强项的东西。14岁他已经登上了美国的这个体育画报 Sports Illustrated， 是很有名的一张画报哈。就15岁的时候，黄仁勋先生获得了美国少年乒乓球公开赛的第3名。
是 U.S. Open 是
美国公开赛
The whole world。
哦，全球的公开赛，在美国举行的世界少年乒乓球比赛，15岁。
Swedish team。
哎，我听说13岁的时候你去拉斯维加斯打乒乓球比赛。
哦，你也知道？
对。
那个不是 U.S. Open， 那个是 U.S. Closed。我第一次去 Las Vegas 13岁的时候，哇，好大！就是 I forgot table tennis because all I saw was Las Vegas, and so I didn't do well.
你13岁还不能去 casino 赌博吧？
可是可以跑来跑去玩啊。
所以13岁的时候你就 lost in Las Vegas.
Oh, it's just so big, so beautiful. Many Olympians, Olympic athletes, the first time they go to the Olympics is so big,
Yeah.
they forget to concentrate on the sport, and so they don't do as well.
在美国，大部分打 baseball, right? Basketball, football. 你挑乒乓是不是因为你个子比较小，所以你找到一个 blue ocean？
可能是这样子，可是很多东西啊 ，a lot of things in life, you cannot use your brain, you have to use your heart.
Right.
And I loved ping pong. I loved ping pong. It was just, I wanted to play every day, and I played every day. And on the weekends, I would sleep right there on the floor, so I can play the whole time.
Forrest Gump.
哦，像阿甘。
You know,
阿甘对。
one of the skills of Forrest Gump
对。
is letting your heart decide
Right.
and focus. No one is more focused than Forrest Gump.
Yes.
And so.
其实我还是很好奇，就是说，华裔的人在美国成长的时候，蛮难融入这个主流的社会。你是怎么样跟周围的朋友相处的？
We moved around a lot, it seemed. And so we changed schools a few times in our early teens. And so I would say that I didn't have many friends. I was also 1 year younger than everybody. because I skipped one grade. And when you're 14 years old, and all of the girls are 15 years old, and they think you're actually 10 years old, you know. And so I had no girlfriends my entire life until I met my wife. So I was very shy when I was growing up. One of the most important experiences I think in my life was when my older brother, he found me a job at a restaurant to wash dishes, bus tables, and eventually I became a waiter. It made it possible for me to talk to strangers, for me to enjoy being with people. That helped me a lot.
所以改变了你的个性。其实在这之前，我们也可以感觉到哈，虽然 Jason 你没有说你是一个有一点点孤僻的小孩，你们小时候也一样吗？你小时候也是很孤僻的小孩，所以最后成为技术狂人的吗？
差不多，都比较喜欢就是自己一个人往里面去钻。
我再请教一个问题，
对，
黄先生他小时候从来没有女孩子看他一眼，你小时候也是这样吧？
我一般的女孩子会看我一眼，只是不看第二眼。
OK。
我第一个女朋友就成了
你的太太，跟你一样，对不对？你是几岁碰到你太太的？
我17岁，
很早哎。
她19岁，
也还蛮早。
可是那个时候我不敢给她讲我17岁。
你们是同学吗
？My wife and I were assigned lab partners, so we had no choice. She has no choice but to be with me. And so you know, I try to impress her. You know, of course, not with my looks, my strong capability to complete homework.
就是你小时候对付那个17岁男同学是一样的。
You have to use your assets, and we were together every weekend doing homework. And I would call her, "Do you want to do homework?" We have to do homework. It's time to do homework.
好经典啊！你这样追了多久
We started dating after about 6 months, maybe. I invited her to dinner and a movie.
哎，你那天怎么会那么有勇气
Well, I do homework with her for 6 hours.
哎，好精彩哦！后来你们就结婚了。
So this is Christmas, and I invited her to come down for AMD. I was working at AMD at the time, and AMD had wonderfully proposed to her. I'm sure I said something like, "Want to get married?" We got married. I proposed, and so I had purchased a Toyota Supra, and I loved my Toyota Supra. I would wash it every day if I could. And from the Christmas party, we were going to drive my Toyota Supra back home to Oregon. We ran into ice, and the car, boom, 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 and the ambulance came and took me to the hospital.
很严重吗？
It was very serious. We almost died that day. I was glass all over me, and she says, "You're bleeding," and she puts her pajamas on my head. And my only concern was the car, and because it was my first car, and so I said, "Is the car okay?" And she says, "I think it looks okay." And she only got a scratch on her finger. I said, "Oh, thank goodness." So next day, the doctor stitched me up, put neck brace on, right, fixed me up, and I said, "I got to go see my car." And my car was this big. It's been crunched in every direction. I said, "Honey, that's not even a car." Anyways, so we almost died that night.
听说你太太答应你求婚还是有条件的，你不能在30岁有一家公司的话，她是不会嫁给你的。
Oh, 不是啦, opposite. When I was 17 years old, and she would say, "So what are you going to do someday?" And I said, "I'm going to be the CEO of a company by the time I'm 30 years old."
所以她说
And I thought it was a very impressive statement.
你确定
But on my 30th birthday,
You did it.
February 17th was my first day of work at NVIDIA.
这个故
February
事，
17th.
对。
Yeah.
哎，我觉得好可惜，因为现场没有看到他们这个四目相对、含情脉脉的样子。但有一段你一定要今天给我们看到，就是你的 boss show，因为你说你打乒乓打得很好。
Well, I haven't played table tennis in 25 years.
25年
And
没有打
so
过。
you have to help me.
Assistant.
You have to
Yes.
assist me. I will not mess up your hair.
No. Did I say yes? 这样
You。need to block the basket.
Oh.
See, this is like the Olympics. You're blocking the basket. You're blocking the basket.
Yeah. Martin.
No, no, no. Back. It's
I can try. Okay.
all right.
我想祈祷我再变得 tiny 一点。
Oh.
Well done, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
You're a wonderful.
Actually, I
You're
want
a
to
wonderful
thank you.
defender.
真的，其实我是真的很想谢谢你，因为还好你练的是乒乓，不是飞刀。我真的蛮紧张的哈。哇、well done， 很精彩的包。
谁改最快的一定会赢啊！
同样的故事呢，在 Let's Get 说我 focus IE，但结果最后还是让微软给战胜了。
问题
但
就是这样子
我觉得，
大家的 web browser 完全一样。
对，这是我。
商道奇人道，财经也轻松，欢迎回到波士堂。今天坐在我们红沙发上的是 NVIDIA 的联合创始人、总裁兼首席执行官黄仁勋先生。Jason， 我们知道你创立这个 NVIDIA 的时候呢，是和以前的2个朋友哈。创立的那一天是93年的时候，2月17号，是你30岁生日的那一天。
对。
好，先来看一看 NVIDIA 它的公司总部和它目前到底在做些什么。来，我们先看一段短片。
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Chris Malachowski, one of the co-founders of NVIDIA. Yesterday you spoke to Jensen Huang at the Envision conference, and today we're here at NVIDIA's world headquarters, our campus in Santa Clara, California. One of the more interesting things at our campus is something I'm very proud of, which is all the awards and accolades our employees and our products have gotten. These represent awards from the industry, our partners, and the press. So Jensen and another gentleman, Curtis Bream, and I started the company in 1993. It was about 15 years ago. This data center, when we built it about 3 years ago, was the most sophisticated data center on record. Well, it's really pretty noisy inside and it's hard to talk or even hear. I'd like to show people our data center because for the people that aren't technologically familiar with how we develop our products, it's rather impressive. But it's not really the most important thing on the campus. To a company like ours, it's the people. This building over here, though, houses our cafeteria. NVIDIA employees, we like to say, think best with a full stomach. Anybody care for a drink?
因为你们3个创始人对吧 ？Chris 和 Plan， 他们俩都是在 Sun 工作，原来也都是技术员。这个 NVIDIA 最早只有35个人，对吧？生存也不是那么容易的。就是在这样的条件下，我不知道发展到今天这样一个年度的福布斯公司，这中间肯定像您所说的，经过了很多的挣扎。比如说，你刚开始在这个 IT 的这个战场上，跟你一块打球的是谁呢？是 Windows， 是微软、Microsoft。对，那个时候是95，对不对？他那时候出来，他那时候采取的是 Direct 3D API 的标准。
Yeah.
但是你采用的恰恰是一个被他淘汰的标准。
Yeah, that was a very, very difficult time. We chose a technology that was wrong. It was right in the beginning, but when Microsoft came up with Windows 95, it was the wrong decision. And the challenge was that we were the last in the world to adopt Direct 3D. How can you be last and smallest and win? And there were 200 companies developing technology for Windows 95. And I think the secret is you can always develop a strategy. You just have to be open-minded, you have to be open-heart, and you have to let yourself understand the strengths and weaknesses of your competitors. Being last doesn't mean the worst situation. Being last is the first person to know everyone else's strategy.
这一次的 mistake is the major flop. 你学到什么东西 I mean, one statement.
Focus. Any strategy looks fabulous on paper because it's so incredibly complicated and comprehensive and it's impossible to attack. It's also impossible to execute. And so what I learned from that is you have to have the courage to pick the one thing that you're going to bet the whole company on.
你本人或者你的 partner 会
I know that none of my but I didn't make all the mistakes by myself. And I never blamed anyone else either. So I think that being CEO in this in a company that continues to grow, you have to keep saying to yourself, I have to reinvent myself every few years. And you don't mind making mistakes.
到97年的时候，其实那个时候是很惊人的，是他提出了一个所谓的皇室定律。那我们知道 IT 界有摩尔定律，说每18个月芯片就换一换，这是这个 Intel 提出来的，对不对？那这个时候呢，黄先生挑战的是 Intel， 他说：好，你们是18个月没关系，我6个月就要来一次新的升级换代，也就开创了自己的这个 GPU 的这个时代。这个时候，你看他的对手不仅有 Windows， 还有 Intel， 他挑战的都是巨人。这个时候，你觉得挑战他们速度是最大的制胜法宝吗？
Large doesn't make you special. And so if you believe in what you do and you are the world's best at what you do because you love it, this is your life. You could be extraordinary, and I think that's really important.
就是您提出了是6个月更新一下，就是你们的那个产品。当时您提出来的时候是真的 believe 这个肯定是能够做到的呢，还是只是当时为了吓唬这个竞争对手，或者是为了考虑
That's really a good question. You have just hit upon one of the most important attributes of leadership. NASA was not able to go to the moon at all. NASA was not able to launch a rocket. And he declared, our country will go to the moon by the end of the decade. We will build a new GPU every 6 months. If you declare something of importance, if you can convey the meaning of an incredible task, you will be amazed what people will do.
为什么你相信6个月那么重要，速度那么重要？
因为别人做不出来啊，因为那个 technology 会改得很快，谁改最快的一定会赢啊。JFK sending the United States to the moon changed United States technological capability fundamentally forever. It was a very important event. And so I think that declaration for us was very bold, it was very hard, but because I had wonderful people, they made it possible.
我觉得我们现在需要来让电视机前的很多的观众朋友，可能他们不是那么技术型的哈，他们也需要听懂一下，就是我们现在说的这个 NVIDIA， 它到底做的这个 GPU 是一个什么东西？它能够给我们的生活带来一些什么样的变化，或者给我们带来什么样的乐趣？ 我想这个黄先生还是可以带我们去一下他主办的这样一个叫做 NVIDIA 的视觉盛宴大会，而且是历史上第1届，对不对？来，我们先看一看。
It's amazing. You can see everything in the ecosystem. Well, we saw all kinds of PCs. There's a PC that's made like a robot. There's a PC that's made like a machine gun. There's a PC that's made like a car. Video game is not just because it's fun, but it's a way for people to spend time with each other. You can play video game at home. You don't need to come here. You want to show people your computer, just like you want to show people your car. And you want to go to a LAN party so you can spend time with people.
Very, very interesting show.
Ah, it's a nice guy. It was amazing.
Hopefully again then in San Jose. I can't wait till next year.
It's really cool that he made it for all ages.
At Envision, you could see technology, you could see companies, you can see products, you can meet players, you can meet scientists, you can meet researchers. So come to Envision and you're going to have a great time.
NVIDIA 的产品来做的。
Kung Fu Panda, every movie, every car. Olympics, when you see all of the nation's flag underneath the water,
都是用你的技术画上去的。
都是我们的 computer graphic.
GPU 是无处不在了，对不对？那现在感觉 GPU 是不是可以取代 CPU？
两边都要。以前啊，那个 computer 就是来 used for computing. The computer is used for computing, but today the computer is used for feeling. You enjoy the game. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. 那个是 get feeling 的。GPU 就是做这个东西。
我请教一下这个专业人士。
那个我是担心一点什么，就是说，因为像 Intel 或者像 Microsoft 这种做平台产品的公司啊，它这个平台呢，往往定义的标准，同时呢，经常会形成一种黑洞一样的东西。你怎么去阻止 Intel 有一天会把这个 GPU 的这样的一个 function 会集成到它的CPU 或者说它的一个芯片组里。
You know, our business and Intel's business is very different. Microsoft and Intel needs to be horizontally focused. They need to build technology that serves everyone. We don't. We are not a basic graphics company. We are focused on people who needs or wants desperately to have the best graphics technology. There are tens of millions of people who love making movies and love making photographs. They're not satisfied with basic. It's not a billion people, but it's hundreds of millions of people.
同样的故事呢，在 Landscape 说我 focus IE， 但结果最后还是让微软给战胜了。
问题就这样子，不一样的地方去上升。你那个 web browser 啊，大家的 web browser 完全一样。
对，
可是 graphics 不一样嘛。
这我就想，
你的 graphics 要来小孩子要来送 video game， 还是那个 car designer design the car，movie maker design the movie。They're not the same.
所以我的想法就是说，因为我也一直看过，比如说包括 Landscape， 包括其他一些公司，它最后为什么让微软失败？因为它的科技已经停滞了，它也制造不出更多的一个需求了。
That's a very good point.
所以呢，它停在那边，微软也好 ，Intel 也好，它就可以追上来。
That's right. That's a very good point.
你的真正 strategy 就是华氏定律。华氏定律其实给自己定义的一个标准，就是说我6个月翻一翻，我跑得永远比他快，他永远追不上我。
跑快 ，running fast only is a good strategy if the road is long. It's technology and art. 那个 art 啊，怎么样做出来是很漂亮的。OK， 那个不是 not a straight road. Everybody's beauty, every year's beauty, very different. So we have to
That's
be
right.
the road is long and windy.
所以
That's
现在你
why
还是
we
坚
have
持
good opportunity.
Right. OK， 来，
AMD 呢，现在开始design 一个 fusion product，right？ 它需要把 GPU 跟 CPU mix up together。你的感觉怎么样？What
Okay. Very good question. Fusion has the strength, has this advantage that two is in one. If it's cheap, that's a good advantage. If it's not cheap, the disadvantage is it is the worst of the two. If you put the outside of a BMW with the inside of a Hyundai, that becomes a Hyundai. So combination is very dangerous. Combination also cannot serve different markets. They're not really niches. Niche is something rather small. I'll give you the world's largest niche today. When Apple Computer recovered, the PC is good enough. How can you have a strategy? Apple decided, I'm going to focus on one niche, creative people. That niche, look how big it is. There's nothing wrong with focusing on a niche, as we know. A successful car company does not have to be Toyota. It can be Ferrari. A fabulously successful company. Not everything needs to be basic and generic. I can't do better than Intel on their strategy, so why compete against them? Do our strategy. Be ourselves.
因为听说最近 Intel 也推出了它的产品叫 Lara B， 然后他们也说是 focus on 这个 graphic market， 而且要在09年底或者10年仍然是 basic 吗？
你说几年啊？10年啊
？10年，对
10年啊？
他们
那么久啊
6个月翻好几代了以后的
对，
事。
但是他们是不是
那个是
说
几个6个月啊？
但它为什么对你们来说是一种竞争吗？还是说根本就是说根本就无所谓的？
对，
This is the visual age. They know GPU is too important. They have to come and participate. You know, Ferrari doesn't say, don't buy my car today. I have a new car in 2 years. You cannot do that. We are running a business. We sell what we have, and we are developing, of course, amazing things for the future. Our R&D budget is $1 billion per year. They're trying to catch up, and so they have to announce as fast as they can and talk about it as often as they can.
哎，您知道三国吧？
三国演义
哎 ，Intel 呢是曹操、魏国，因为它地面最大，野心十足，将才啊也是最多的。那么紧接着我们再来看看 AMD 呢，它有点像刘备，所以也能够笼络人才。最近就把 ATI 收归了麾下。那您呢是属于吴国的孙权，孙权呢是属于这个术业有专攻，他比较稳扎稳打。当然也不是说没有野心，但是他正在看形势的变化。所以您同意这样一个划分吗？先说说。Well,
In
maybe
fact,
you're
in
not
fact,
the-
I think you're painting too small of a world. In 20 years, what do you think will be the most important computer in your life? I think it will be your mobile computer. The computer in your pocket. Not the computer in the server, not the computer in your desk, not the computer in your laptop. It's the computer in your pocket. We know in 20 years that's the most important computer. And yet, none of the 3 people you've mentioned play in that world. I believe that's the world you want to go to. And so, unless we can include that world into our world, we can't possibly talk about, are we the only 3? It could be Sony, it could be Apple, it could be a lot of companies. So the world is a very complicated place. If you narrowly define your world, you will also have a narrowly defined strategy. And narrowly defined strategies don't work well.
谢谢黄先生，您不仅是一个伟大的企业家，更是一个伟大的梦想家。所以我更想知道的是，你还有什么样的更完美的人生梦想？广告回来之后，请你为我们揭晓。
If I'm 60, 80 years old, and my kids love coming home just because they think that I'm cool or they think that I'm fun to be with, or
那时候你还会做饭给他们吃吗？
oh, absolutely. That's, in fact, cooking is one of the is create.
商道巨人 到财经也轻松，回到波士堂。今天坐在红沙发的是 NVIDIA 的联合创始人、总裁兼首席执行官黄仁勋先生。那我们现在再来谈谈人生的愿景、企业的愿景。您告诉我们你的愿景是什么？
My vision for our company is that we become one of the most influential technology companies in the world. And that we're able to build and create things that no one else in the world can do. And these things are meaningful to life. They either make us happier or much of the work that we do, advanced research and discovery that could cure people's illnesses and save lives. And that someday everybody around the world recognizes NVIDIA like they recognize Microsoft and Intel and recognize us as one of the most influential and important technology companies in the world.
你的人生愿景是什么呢？
I hope that my children grows up to have meaningful lives. If I'm 60, 80 years old and my kids love coming home just to hang out with me, spend time with me because they think that I'm cool or they think that I'm fun to be with or by being with me they're happier, nothing could give me more joy than that.
那时候你还会做饭给他们吃吗？
Oh, absolutely. That's, in fact, cooking is one of the, it's creativity and bringing joy to people.
黄先生也有一个完美人生的理想。黄先生也有一个完美人生的理想。这个人是谁？
Muhammad Ali.
哇哦！拳王阿里。
He stood up for what he believed in. He did not want to fight the Vietnamese. They took away his ability to box. He didn't want to fight people that did nothing to him. It was not his fight. He stood up for what he believed in. He's wonderfully compassionate. He's incredibly clever and charismatic. You know, here's a man that never finished college, and yet he gave the commencement speech at Harvard. And at the very last moment, someone says, Ali, give us a poem. And paused, and he says, me, we. It means us, me, us, we are one. You could think about that poem in a lot of different ways. And yet he thought of it at that moment, and it turns out to be the shortest poem ever written. When he fought in Kenya, there was no reason for him to win. And look what happened. One of the most beautiful fights of all time. He's a great, great man. And my favorite movie of all time is When We Were Kings. It'll bring you to tears. What a wonderful story of a wonderful man that went through incredible adversity. And he did it with style, he did it with humor, he did it with charisma. And look at the legacy he's left behind. So.
谢谢您跟我们分享了这个，其实是一个字，就是信念。我们的3位观察员对我们的 Jason 黄仁勋先生，最后无论是对他的事业，还是对他的个人，你们有些什么样的祝福和赠言呢？
我知道您非常喜欢 cooking， 希望有一天你自己的产品能够帮助你自己的 cooking experience 变得更加的有趣。
I hope.
可以继续你的 focus, right? 而且 focus on something fun and right direction. Enjoy your ride.
王志忠，
它的技术呢，现在已经变成一个非常 interesting， 而且是能够改变这个世界的这样一种产品，就他自己能够很 enjoy 他自己的这个事业。
来，黄先生，我们节目有一份小礼物要送给你，是一幅漫画。黄先生其实很爱开法拉利车，因为他说6个月要翻一番，这个速度要非常非常快。然后呢，他说 GPU 现在有100层那么高，但是我们相信它真的是会像世界上最高的那座山峰一样。而我们相信黄先生开着他的这个速度超快的法拉利，会把他的这个 GPU 的红旗插上这个世界的最高峰。
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you.